Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, your source for outdoor radio in the Mid-South. And here he is, folks, the man, the myth, the legend, Larry Ray.
The myth. I like that the best. You know, I'm not really here. You know, thank goodness we have another interpreter in the studio with us, but John Gordon is now officially part of the introduction team, and Frank Barton is writing what he's going to say on the next break down over there. But, hey, we're going to talk a little fishing, talk a little bit about what's going on up at Kentucky Lake with a gentleman, and I've heard nothing but good things about. I hope to get up there someday and fish with him, but happy to have him. We're going to try to keep in touch with him. This is Doug Wynn. He is from Five River Taxidermy. I didn't not know that, Doug, and crappie, gills, and more, based out of Benton, Kentucky. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Larry.
How we doing, buddy? How we dealing? Let's talk about your guide service and everything. Give us a little background on how you got into this.
Well, this has been a lifetime coming, but this is actually my third year of the full-time guiding. But I grew up on Kentucky Lake. I actually grew up fishing Barkley before Barkley was even a lake. My grandparents lived in the Lamasco area, so I've been around the lakes all my life.
And so, what was your background? What did you do for a living before you decided to be a guide?
I was in the chemical industry for 27 years.
Oh, bless your heart! Yeah.
Got hurt on the job in 2001. And,
really?
Went up to Pennsylvania to the Institute of Taxidermy in Pennsylvania in 2003, and started my business there in Benton in 2004. Have a very active, very interesting taxidermy business. I get to work on animals from all over the world. Right now I've got a Cape Buffalo from Mozambique, Africa on the mount stand, and just got done with a mid-Asian ibex from Kyrgyzstan.
Oh, my goodness.
You know where Pakistan is?
No, I know where Pakistan, but I would have to look that up. There's so many stands over there in that area.
Exactly.
And
it's in the Himalayan mountains.
Okay.
I had to look it up. Very interesting animal, but just the example of the clientele that I have, and I'm very proud to to have such a great clientele who travel all over the world. So.
And I know that that fishing is one of your loves. So tell us about how you got into fishing. As a young person, or someone was an influence on you? Talk about that.
Well, I'd have to say my grandparents, my granddaddies were both influences. Grew up fishing farm ponds and creeks.
Oh, who didn't?
The late 60s, my dad actually ran a marina on Barkley. Now, Barkley was formed in 65, and we're talking 68. So Barkley was a brand new lake, little marina that was called, at that time, Port Kenbar. People are familiar with Barkley now. Port Kenbar is now Green Turtle Bay, which is a huge marina.
Yeah.
But in the 60s, it was a little fish camp, and I ran into a guy while I was there by the name of Dutch Owens. Now, some of your listeners from the Fulton, Kentucky, Reelfoot area may remember Dutch. Dutch was he was sort of a pioneer in fishing structure. Yeah, and I think he was sort of patterned his fishing after Buck Perry, who is really like the grandfather of structure fishing.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, Dutch did a lot of trolling, and when I worked at the marina, I cleaned fish for 10 cents a fish. This is Rapala fillet knife. This is
10 cents a fish. Okay, all right.
And I got to clean a ton of sauger, white bass, you name it, that Dutch and his clients brought in. And he was a huge influence on me. I tried to pick the man's brain, he fished out of a little 14-foot aluminum V-bow boat.
Yeah.
Had one of the Lowrance green box.
Oh my goodness.
Flashers
Yeah.
set on the seat.
Yeah.
And the man really, really influenced me. Now, something else that I will always give Dutch Owens credit for, there's a crappie rig. Everybody calls it the Kentucky rig, the Captain Coleman rig, whatever.
Yeah.
Dutch Owens was tying those in the 60s.
He was.
And selling them in this area. So I will always give him credit for that double hook minnow rig that is still very popular in this area.
And again, we're talking to Doug Wynn, guide up on Kentucky Lake, well-known guide up there. And I know that Doug, as a guide, let's talk about fishing in July on Kentucky Lake.
Hot.
It's hot, right?
It is hot. We've been luckily today I had a day off and was able to talk to you for a little bit, but it's been fishing. It's slowing down. We're sort of in the dog days. My primary fishing style this time of year is pulling crankbaits.
Pulling crankbaits. I knew you were going to say that. So tell our listeners who may not be familiar with that what you mean by pulling crankbaits.
Okay. I fish out of an XL Bay Pro 203 center console.
Yeah.
And I have my rod racks and all set up across the back of the boat and up the side of the boat a little bit toward the console.
So how many crankbaits are you using?
We will normally run 6 to 8 with clients.
With clients.
Now I will tell you this: my wife Vicky is absolutely one of the best crankbait fishermen that I've ever had in the boat. I'll put her up against anybody.
Okay.
And I can put 6 or 8 rods back there, and she takes care of them well. But I won't do that with clients. I mean, that's just that's a little bit of sensory overload for a client.
And it is also, it gets real busy though, doesn't it? I mean, you've got
exactly. And I mean, you've got to pay attention to everything. You've got to be watching, making sure that bait's tracking. You're watching the vibration of the bait on the end of the rod.
Yeah.
Watching, you've got to be watching everything, and it's really hard when there's other things going on for a new client to, to take all that in.
And you do get hung up some.
A lot.
Okay, I just wanted the folks to know that. How do you do this and not get hung up? It happens, right? I mean, whether you run across a line or somebody's left something in there, or you might anything underwater. But the way I understand it, people got a pretty good chance to catch fish with you.
We catch a lot of good fish. I will say this technique I use has really been more perfected the last few years down in Mississippi on Grenada and Sardis. They're fishing big, deep flats down there. What we're fishing in Kentucky, we're fishing the same stuff would be spider rigging in the cold weather and long lining.
Yeah.
I'm running brush pile to brush pile. I'm sitting there watching the Helix 12 Mega. I'm watching my chart, and I'm targeting stuff. It's going to jump up and grab it. That crankbait.
And it's pretty. This is really. The equipment has changed so much, and electronics and things along that line. So, talk about that. When a client gets in your boat and has never done it before, what's the first thing you tell them?
Well, the first thing they're going to notice is that I've got a remote control hanging around my neck.
What?
And I'm running a Tarova 112-pound, 36-volt trolling motor with 3 golf cart batteries powering it, and I do all of my control for the trolling motor from the console.
Amazing.
So
yeah,
I don't have to be close to that trolling motor. I would not do what I do without that Tarova.
And that's 100. Did you say 130-pound thrust?
112.
112.
36 volt. Yep.
Oh.
36 volt.
Wow. Okay. What else?
And the Helix 12 Mega.
Yeah.
It's a huge screen.
It is.
I use a tri-screen. I run my chart on the left. I run 2D sonar on the right on top, and I run down him.
So how big is this screen now? You said a huge screen. How big is this screen?
It's 12-inch.
Wow.
It's 12-inch, yeah.
All right. That sounds like my computer screen there for a long time,
Yeah.
But and you got 3 screens? Is that right? Did I hear you?
I'm running a tri-screen. I can run single screen. I can run 2 screens. I can run 3 screens at one time on there.
Amazing.
And,
yeah.
So that in itself is hugely important. Of course, I'm running line counter reels. I use the Shakespeare ATS 15 and the Okuma Magda 15 reels.
Yes, it's big time equipment, folks. I'm just telling you because I have a friend, and I will mention Linda Arnold's name because she's one of Doug's best clients and probably one of his best fisher person too. And Linda has told me many times that people need to experience a day on the water with Doug because not only would they catch fish, they're going to come away from that with a little bit of appreciation of what you have to do to get them to have a good time.
Well, that's what it's all about. If I cannot go out there and put on a good time for the people, we're not always going to catch fish. I mean,
really?
There are going to be days, but I will never have somebody accuse me of not working hard to put on a good trip. That would be something that would be very hurtful if they felt like I didn't put out the maximum effort.
Well, I tell you what, I've heard nothing but good things. So, Doug, tell my listeners how they can get in touch with you if they want to book a trip or whatever. What's the best way?
Well, they can reach me at crappieguildsandmore.com.
Okay.
Which is my website. That's crappie-gills-in-more.
Okay.
And or they can reach me at my cell phone, which is 270-703-7600. I do have a lot of people reach me through ExploreKentuckyLake.com.
I was going to mention that because we have. We have.
And,
you can go to lroutdoors.com. We're going to keep up with Doug, fishing reports and things like that on my website. And Doug, we're out of time here. I appreciate you. I'd like to talk to you maybe once a month or something, and keep up.
Love that.
Keep up with something, and we'll post all that information on the website. Thank you, buddy. Have a great day, and we'll stay in touch. Okay.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you. All right. Let's take a break. In studio, Frank Barton, John Gordon, and, of course, the short timer, Greg Ratliff. We'll be right back.